Last week we saw some of the best of the Six Nations. This week it's gone the other end of the scale. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. Not much quality on show in this one, and honestly in today's games, the early one as well, not a great deal of quality there. Either that one was a bit of a surprise. This one, maybe, looking at the way the two teams are, maybe a little bit more predictable. Although I did definitely expect better from England. And then the great thing for me is that I watched the earlier game. I couldn't take any notes. Normally, I take my notes so I can do my reviews after the game. Couldn't take notes on that one, which means I got to rewatch that heap of crap that was masquerading as a Six Nations game. So that's going to be fun later, tonight, rewatching that and getting that video done. So, good luck me, I guess. But onto this one, England on attack early on. Stewart returned the kick. He did really well on his kick returns, and England did a lot as well. I think Wales couldn't really figure out their kicking game, and he slices through a gap, gets in behind, but then he tries to put on a bit of footwork and pretty much trips over himself. He's trying to go one way and the other. England though continue to pressure, and it looks like maybe something is coming, but then Reffel gets over the ball and wins a penalty for Wales. England, though, they do continue to press, and it looks like they're kind of pinning Wales in, but then we have a high hit from Chesham on Azarati. It's shoulder to head. He gets a yellow card. That goes to the bunker. Eventually, did decide that it was only a yellow card. Wales then, shortly after that, they win a scrum penalty, and that gets them a little bit on the front foot, gets them in position. They then have a chance to go, kick up the line, set up a maul, and they're driving over. It's collapsed illegally. Root goes to the bin, and it's a penalty try 7-0 to Wales. England now, 2 men in the bin. They're down to 13. But they're the ones that come and attack. They have a scrum under the post after, working their way well into that Welsh 22. Earl comes off the back of it, shows great strength, and it looks like he's going to be stopped just short of the line, but he's able to stretch out and ground on the line for an excellent score. Ford then gets cut out. He's got a simple conversion, but he does a step, and that that basically is the start of his run up, but he's obviously not ready to kick the ball yet, and Wales rush out. Dyer kicks the ball off the tee, and no conversion for England. So it's 7-5 at that point. England then see out the yellow card periods and begin to take back a little bit of control, but much of the game's being played in the middle of the field. There's not much going on in terms of either team having much in attack. We're seeing a lot of line speed from England in defence though, and it really is rushing the Welsh when they're trying to do something. Wales had a lot of the ball, especially in that first half, but not really doing much with it. And then no real cutting edge from them, and we're seeing from some big hits from England as well, forcing errors and knock-ons, and just the line speed as well, rushing the Welsh. England, when they get the ball, they can't unlock that Welsh defence either, so it's kind of stalemate at that time period. Wales, a lot of the time they're trying to get out to the edge, kind of going from one edge to the other, looking for space out there, but England have numbers. And then finally they decide they're going to try switching it back inside. That works. Reffel breaks the line. He finds Tomas Williams, who gets in behind, and then he draws the cover and sends Alex Mann over to score. 2 tries in 2 Six Nations game for Alex Mann. He must think it's easy to score in his competition at this stage. It's converted by Lloyd. It's 14-5, and that was a halftime score. Into the second half then, England begin it well. A strong scrum forces Wales to concede their first penalty of the game. Ford kicks that up the line. England then claim the line out, go through some phases. They then win another penalty, and no, sorry, they didn't win a penalty. They no, I have it's on my notes. It says England go for the corner, but they're actually working the ball towards the corner. So apologies for that. So they're working the ball towards the corner. They get it out to Daly. It looks like Wales do have numbers out there, and Winnett is able to force him into touch with a decent covering tackle, and he had a little bit of help from Josh Adams there, but I think Winnett had him in touch anyway. Wales so then do concede another penalty for not retreating when in front of the kicker. I think it was Tompkins was trying to rush up to put on pressure, but he should have waited to be put onside, and then Ford pops it over, and it's 14-8, and it's kind of similar to the way we saw England against Italy, where just that little bit of pressure and Ford being able to kick his penalties and just being so good from the tee means that they're staying in touch, and they always have a chance when they're doing that. Then we have a clever and well executed cross kick from Lloyd that finds Dyer on the wing. He then puts the kick through, and it's touched by an England hand, and Wales in a good position in that England 22. Lloyd, that was was his best cross kick of the game. He tried a lot of cross kicks in this game. A lot of them didn't actually come off. But then the line-out doesn't go to plan for Wales. And then the next few minutes is just resetting the scrum. We saw that a bit in the game, actually. England eventually cleared the ball. Wales then produced another bit of quality, and that's basically what the game was just like, dire rugby and then tiny pockets of quality. But Wales produced this little bit of quality. Winnett, he breaks the line around about halfway, gets it out to Adams, and he's getting pushed into touch and slings the ball back inside the Dyer, but it's knocked on. And that was one of the more dangerous attacks that Wales had in the second half. They didn't really have much about them really in the second 40, but it was a good move from them, but also pretty decent scramble from England. England then win a penalty at the scrum, and there's wild celebration because it really gives them a lift. It was one of those games where you knew there wasn't going to be like a try fest, and moments like that, winning that scrum penalty was a big win for England. We do see sometimes England over celebrating penalties and stuff like that, but I think this one was genuine reaction from them. Adams then drops a bomb just outside his own 22. England win another scrum penalty for an early engage this time, and Genge and Cole really boosted that scrum coming on. Like, they won that penalty. They come on, won that penalty down their own end. And then I think the fear of the hit, Wales trying to win that hit going early forced that other penalty as well. England do go to the corner from this one, and it's just beginning to look ominous, really. They go to their maul. Wales halt them, and it kind of crabs in field. Mitchell then snipes. England recycle, and they're applying pressure through the phases. Genge gets halted at the post. England have numbers out wide, and they just about actually get the ball out there. It was a bit touch and go, really. There was some kind of desperate catching and passing going on, rather than it wasn't all smooth sailing getting out there. But you do get it out to Dingwall, and he goes over in the corner. Ford drags the conversion left and wide. It's 14-13, 1 point game. Wales just about hanging on to that lead. England, though, now beginning to stretch that Welsh defence. They have numbers on the right, and a couple of times Freeman makes good ground for them. Wales desperate in defence, and somehow they manage to turn the ball over. But you feel they need to produce something, because if another score is going to come for England if it just continues like this. Wales just not offering anything at all and not really being able to get out of their own half. They then, to have the ball for a little bit, but it's very rushed. England blitzing up in defence. Ford then kicks just a fantastic 50-22, and England have a real chance now. England win the line out, go to the maul, but Wales halt it. England's look to spread it then. There's a deliberate knock-on from Grady. They have a TMO review for a potential penalty try, but you can see that there's cover and cover coming across as well. But it's still a penalty to England. Grady gets to sit out the rest of the game in the bin. Ford puts England ahead for the first time in the game, 16-14. Wales, now they need to score, and that's the problem when a team are just defending basically the entire half. Was pretty much Wales defending, trying to keep that lead, and then when it comes to then you have to turn it on, it's not really there. You don't have it. Like, there's very few teams who can do that, who can have virtually no threat at all going forward, because it's all about defending that lead and then being able to switch it on. And there's very few teams in the world that can actually do that, and Wales are not one of them, certainly at the moment. And they've got the ball, they're in their own half, but England are pinning them in there, they're forcing them back towards their own 22. England then eventually get their hands on the ball, clock is in the red, they have a line out, they get that in, they secure it, then Kerr gets the ball off the field. Full time is 16-14. England win, and I think on the balance of the game, they deserved it. Wales, I'm not going to say very good, because neither team were very good, but in the kind of the context of this game, very good in the first half, and then England were the team of the second half, really. And now we're going to have a look at the stats, and then we'll talk about kind of some individual performances and how I feel the teams are going from here. But first of all, possession 43% for England and 57% for Wales. So Wales with the lion's share of the ball, and then territory was 61 for England and 39 for Wales. So Wales, even though they had most of the ball, a lot of it was in their own half. Then tries scored, 2 for England. It says 1 for Wales, but penalty try is still a try scored. I don't know why stats do stupid stuff like this. And even on when you look on the the official website, in terms of the times of scores and stuff like that, they don't include penalty try, because I don't know why. It's stupid. It looks like if you just took it on face value of like the scores and what times they scored, it looks like Wales didn't actually get a penalty try at all. So I don't know why it's maybe some kind of whatever way to code their websites or something, but it happens on a lot of websites. Carries then 72 for England, 119 for Wales. Meters carried 439 for England, 519 for Wales. Meters gained 286 for England and 252 for Wales. So Wales, even though they had a lot more carries than England, and they carried for a lot of meters, a lot of it was from behind their own gain line and then not getting over that gain line at all. I'm looking at both teams as well. The conversion, or the percentage of meters carried actually being meters gained is actually pretty low compared to other teams in the tournament. Line breaks then 5 for England, 4 for Wales. Defender beaten, 21 for England, 25 for Wales. But and again, a lot of it was kind of behind the break, the gain line, and only really a couple of breaks led to any real danger from them. Onto then like offloads, 1 for England, 5 for Wales, but the build up to the try really for Man was the only real significant one of those 5 offloads for Wales. Handing errors then 15 for England, 10 for Wales. Like you think it's not terrible amount of handling errors, but then you look at the just the quality of play and, the risks that both teams were taking, that the handling errors in that compared to that, they're not great, honestly. Turnovers conceded then, 10 for England, 12 for Wales. It wasn't really a game where, like turnovers obviously always have an impact, but it wasn't one of those games where we saw too much of desperate defense and then a turnover that relieved the pressure. A lot of the turnovers are happening kind of in the middle of the pitch. Next, we're going to look at some of the kicking. So kicks in play, 32 from Wales, 33 from England, and 32 from England, 33 from Wales. Kicking meters, 883 for England, 703 for Wales. So, England one less kick, but making 180 meters more, and that will tell you, how direct England were. And they actually talk about it in commentary as well. It was very noticeable that Wales didn't want to kick long because then they were kicking to Freddie Stewart, and they didn't have the confidence that they'd have anybody that could actually compete with him in the air and win the ball back for them. Because we saw last year with Wales that they were putting up kicks to be competitive, and the likes of Adams would get up there and try to just kind of slap it back on the Wales side, not claim it, just slap it back and create a bit, of a chance for them. But they weren't doing that at all today. A lot of their kicks were more lateral and not really as good as England's, and you can see that that's kind of come through in the numbers as well. Defense then. Tackles made, 149 for England, 102 for Wales. A lot of England's, tackles, they were stopping Wales on that gain line or behind it. Tackles missed then, 25 to 21. Tackling percentage, 86 for England, which is decent. 83 for Wales, a little bit below where they would want to be in this game. Discipline then. 7 penalties for England. They conceded 6 of those in the first half, so really good second half from them in terms of discipline. Wales, a really good first half where they conceded 0 penalties, and then second half then they conceded 5 to England's 1. So you can see how much the game swung. Then free kicks, 1 each, and then those 2 yellow cards for England and 1 for Wales. And it was basically, they came at the times when, in the halves, should I say, when one team was on top over the other as well. At the breakdown then, Rooks won 63 for England, 101 for Wales, and Rooks lost 3 for England, 1 for Wales. So, Reffel had a lot to do, I think, in terms of disrupting those England Rooks. Then percentage of Rooks, 3 seconds or less. 37% for England is not bad. 28% for Wales, must do better, is how I'd put that. But England as well, 37% of their Rooks were over 6 seconds. So, for England, it was almost like either quick ball or super slow ball. And for Wales, most of theirs were kind of in the middle, 4 to 6 seconds with 47%. So very different, results to break down for these guys. Onto set piece then. Scrums won, 7 for England, 4 for Wales. And the scrum for England, when the replacements come on, really did have a big impact. And in that second half as well, I think the scrum was one of the weapons that they had that really brought them back into the game. Scrums lost 1 each. Lineouts then, 11-1 for England, 14 for Wales. Just 1 lineout loss for England and 2 for Wales. No lineout steals from either team. There wasn't all that much competition really. And the competition that we did see, there was kind of, taking the man in the air, etc. There was 1 penalty for that, at least I know. But yeah, the stats again, they just show that England just about shaded the game in this one. And we're going to talk about, as I said, the kind of, overall for the game. So for Wales, continue to score in only 1 half seems to be a trend for them. So like last week, it was the second half. They scored, 26 points, right? Because they lost 26-27. And in this week, it was the first half. They scored all their 14 points in the first half and couldn't produce anything in the second half. So they need to fix that if they're going to win, because you need to be all through the game, adding to that scoreboard. Because if you don't, then you're going to get chased down if you're ahead. And if you're chasing a score, you're maybe leaving yourself too much to do. So definitely have to fix that in order to get a win this year. And at the moment now, that's what it is for Wales. Like, any outside chance that they had of, a shock, Gatlin inspired championship now is gone. So now it's about trying to get a couple of wins and having a respectable finish. And, if they lose the next one, which is against Ireland, so that's certainly possible that could happen to them. But if they lose that one, then it's almost, looking at trying to avoid the wooden spoon already for them. But, there are 3 games left. They could certainly win those 3, because, again, it's rugby. You cannot kind of call a game before, before it's actually happened. But it would be worrying times for them, really, in terms of where they're going to finish this year, I would say. In terms of individual performances, I thought Reffel was decent for Wales. He's looked good in the first 2 rounds, but you need more than him. Dyer, dangerous at times, but not really enough from him, but wasn't really given many opportunities either going forward. Mixed bag from Lloyd after, inspirational performance last week, and the same with Tomas Williams beside him, really. But the thing for Wales, though, is they can't just keep chopping and changing. You need at some stage to back somebody, because you're not going to find, a superstar who's been hiding somewhere in Welsh rugby at this stage. You've got to look at what you have and decide, this is my 9-10 combination for the rest of the tournament, and we're going to give them at least that to see if they can find their feet at this level. I think Lloyd deserves another chance, because decent performance off the bench last week. He's a young guy. He's going to improve. And I said it last week as well, he's going to have poor performances. Today was fairly poor, but that doesn't mean that you just throw the baby out with the bathwater. You've got to have some kind of consistency in selection, and we can't have the same as last year, where it was just, it was almost like revolving door selection policy. So let's see what actually happens with that. From England's point of view, Root not up to the same level as last week, but most of the England performances weren't. I thought Earl, though, was excellent for them. Ford guided around the park, some really clever kicks, and just knowing when to put the pressure on as well with his kicks, and just picking his spot really well with them. Genge, Dan and Cunningham South all added off the bench as well, so that they'll be delighted with how they impacted the game and really helped England to bring home the win. But overall, not a great performance from England. But the main thing is they're 2 out of 2, and when you're going for a trophy, it really is all about winning, and they have those 2 wins, and they're still in a shout now for winning this competition.